Jabaliya refugee camp has effectively become a fortified position. Hamas has institutionalized, abused, and taken the people of Jabalia hostage. What we took out and what we struck yesterday was the staging ground, the position where the arch terrorist Ibrahim Biari was hiding out. He had been on the forefront of terrorism for the last 2 decades. And I'm sure if he was given the chance to conduct more butchery of our people, he wouldn't think twice. So he was a military target, a necessary military target. He was surrounded by his henchmen, and therefore he was a necessary target. Indeed, we know that he was involved in the planning and executing of the 7th of October attack in the vicinity of Jabalia and the forces that entered from the Jabalia area. And so, yeah, he was part of the operation that we are determined on destroying and dismantling Hamas, its capabilities, taking out its leaders. And this is what we did yesterday. So in the aftermath of this, we're still looking at the differentiation between those numbers. We know that Biari was killed. We know several of his, some dozens of his accomplices and supporters were also killed. The magnitude of the strike is still unclear. What is very clear from the strike is that the building collapsed into the tunnel system that Hamas had built. And this is the reality of this battlefield that Hamas have established beneath ground. And so, yes, when we strike a senior Hamas battalion commander who has endless blood on his hands, he is the target, and those that are surrounding him are at risk. We have been now for 3 weeks encouraging people to evacuate the north of Gaza Strip, to evacuate places like Jabalia refugee camp. And we've seen that most of them have actually listened to us. Unfortunately, Hamas is trying to discourage many of the people not to go. And this is the challenge. This is what we face. We will continue to strike Hamas wherever they hide. We are determined on destroying and dismantling their capabilities and making sure that they never have the power to utilize in order to attack Israel ever again. So over the last week, we've been increasing every day the amount of humanitarian assistance coming in. I think yesterday the number was 70, and this is ongoing, and we hope to have by the end of the week probably around 100 trucks of humanitarian aid coming in. We've also seen reports of ambulances coming in order to evacuate some of the wounded, and indeed that is not something that we're involved in, but absolutely necessary for the military operation to continue, that there is the humanitarian support. We're not against the people of Gaza. They are not our enemy. Unfortunately, it is Hamas time and time again that puts the people at risk. And this is what we are realizing. And of course, as the operation continues, and it will continue, we will continue to expand not only the operational activities that we're taking in order to destroy Hamas, but also the humanitarian efforts will also continue to expand. Yes, we have increased and expanded our operations on the ground. We have 11 soldiers that have been killed in combat to date. Of course, it is the challenges of urban warfare with terrorists coming out of tunnels and launching anti-tank missiles at different forces mobilizing and operating on the ground. But we are expanding and increasing our activities in order to achieve the goals. I would say there's a significant presence that enables us to move forward and engage the enemy and seek them out and pursue them wherever they are. So we're very concerned about what's happening on the border with Lebanon. Obviously, we've had anti-tank missile fired at us again yesterday. We took out some Hezbollah positions, a Hezbollah position that was operating and planning to conduct more attacks against us. We are taking that situation with open eyes, but very cautiously. I think the question that needs to be asked is Hezbollah really willing to sacrifice Lebanon for what's going on in Gaza? And is Lebanon willing to accept that price as Hezbollah perhaps potentially drags them down? And for what reason? They have to look very closely at what's happening in Gaza and see if that is the reality they wish for Lebanon itself and for the South and Hezbollah as well. So Hezbollah is a challenge. We have reinforced our forces on the border. We've evacuated around 80% of the people on the border with Lebanon in the I would say a radius of around 5 kilometers have been evacuated, including the town of Kiryat Shmona. And yes, that is how we're trying to mitigate any challenges that Hezbollah could potentially cause and any threats and deaths on our side, while we continue to strengthen the defensive capabilities. On the issue on the southern front with the surface to air or surface to surface missile that the Yemenites, the Houthis, have apparently launched towards us. Yesterday, we intercepted with the first operational interception in this war of the Arrow aerial defense system. We have very good defensive capabilities, and we engaged other enemy aircraft that were deployed in the morning. It's something we're watching, but we have very good defenses. We're prepared for any eventuality and taking all of those into consideration while we push forward and pursue our main mission on the border with on the border and in Gaza at this time. 240 Israelis still being held hostage. We've demanded that the International Committee of the Red Cross have access to them to assess the state of their well-being. It is Hamas that are responsible for their well-being, and we intend to bring them home safe and sound.